History of the Khulafa al-Rashidin, Session 9. Khalid ibn Waleed faces the entire Persian Empire. From Hira, Khalid sent letters to the important personalities and circulars to the feudal lords who were wise enough to obey the truth and follow the good. In the letter addressed to the influential persons of Persia, he would write, "All praise is due to Allah, who created chaos in your system and slackened your hypocrisy, and He has broken your unity. Had we not invaded this country, it would have been disastrous for you. Now it is better for you to obey us, and we shall leave your territory and go somewhere else. If you refuse to obey us, you will come across such people who love death as you love your life." Another general circular carried the following message: "Glorified is Allah the Almighty, who humbled your pride, who has broken your alliance to pieces and razed your grandeur to the ground. Hence, do accept Islam and you will be safe, or seek our protection to become dhimmi and pay the jizya. Otherwise, I have brought to you a people who keep death as dear as you love drinking." These letters and circulars brought unity among them, and they achieved success in choosing their king unanimously to face the Arabian invasions. Unlike what the Muslims expected, these letters and circulars, rather than bringing the Persian leaders towards Islam or the jizya, only made them angrier and enraged, and succeeded in uniting the crippled Persian Empire and making them unite under a unanimously selected king to face the Arabian and Muslim invasions. This was clearly not good news for the Muslims. The Persians collected a big force in a place called Anbar and appointed a man called Shirzad as its commander. Khalid ibn Waleed marched from Hira to Anbar. Shirzad had erected a high mount of clay outside the ramparts of their fort to consolidate his position and to strengthen his forts. When Khalid radiallahu anh surrounded Anbar, the besieged soldiers showered arrows on the Muslim army, with the result that the eyes of about 1,000 Muslim fighters were injured. But the lion-hearted commander of the Muslim forces was not to be intimidated through such tactics and devices. He outsmarted his enemy by slaughtering the weak and exhausted camels and piling them up to reach the ramparts and then beat the enemy thoroughly. Although the Persians showed courage and bravery, they had to surrender before the Muslims, who outwitted them in every department of warfare. When Shirzad witnessed that Muslim victory was around the corner, he sent his men to Khalid radiallahu anh on a peace mission. He replied that he could allow Shirzad to leave the city peacefully along with a few comrades with provisions for not more than 3 days. Shirzad left the city and Khalid ibn Waleed entered it victoriously. He then put Zabarqan ibn Badr in charge of Anbar and marched to Ain al-Tamr. On the way, Khalid ibn Waleed was confronted by Uqbah ibn Abi Uqbah, an Arab leader who had gathered a large army of Arab tribes waiting to confront Khalid ibn Waleed. These were all Arab tribes, and they weren't the only ones that wanted to fight against Khalid, for with them was an army of Persian soldiers as well. Soldiers that were under the command of a man named Mihran. The Arab and Persian armies had allied together to fight the Muslims, and yet they remained two distinct forces as opposed to a single merged larger army. Yet again, enemy forces in Iraq made the deadly mistake of underestimating the strength of Khalid's army. Uqbah did not even think that he needed Mihran's help to defeat Khalid, and so, with an air of pride and arrogance, he asked Mihran to stay out of the conflict, saying to him, "Verily, Arabs are best suited to fight against Arabs, so let us take care of Khalid." Mihran replied, "Then he is all yours. Nonetheless, if you need us, we will help you against them." When Persian soldiers complained about Mihran's decision to not participate in the coming battle, Mihran, also with an unwarranted sense of pride, said to them, "Let them," that is the Arabs, "fight. If they defeat Khalid, then he is all yours. He is yours to punish and kill. And if they are defeated, we will fight against Khalid. For in that case, they, that is Khalid and his men, will have become weak from fighting against Uqbah's army, while we will be strong and fresh." Uqbah was rather too excited to come out first and challenge for a duel against Khalid. Khalid ibn Waleed stepped forward and captured him alive. With the result, his men fled in terror and were also taken captive. Mihran ibn Bahram grew so awe-stricken that he fled his fort, which later fell to the Muslim army. In a nearby church, 40 children were studying the Bible. Khalid ibn Waleed placed those children under the custody of wealthy men who could take care of them. Among those children, and they were all considered slaves, was Humran, who later became the freed slave of Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh. And one of them was Sirin, who was given to Malik ibn Anas. Interestingly, Sirin was the father of Muhammad ibn Sirin rahimahullah, who would later become one of the most eminent scholars of the Muslim nation. Khalid ibn Waleed finished his task in a comparatively short period, but Iyad ibn Ghanam radiallahu anh, dispatched about the same time as Khalid from Medina, was still engaged on his mission. His target of attack was a large territory forming part of Iraq, Iran, and Syria, and so his combats affected Persia and Heraclius equally. The time when Khalid ibn Waleed conquered Ain al-Tamr, Iyad ibn Ghanam engaged the rulers of Dawmatul Jandal after winning victories over the polytheist and Christian tribes. Dawmatul Jandal had two rulers, Ukaydir ibn Malik and Judi ibn Rabi'ah, who had collected all the Christians of the surrounding areas against the Muslims. In this distressing situation, Iyad radiallahu anh addressed a letter to Khalid ibn Waleed, who was then at Ain al-Tamr, to come to his help against the huge army of the enemy. In response to Iyad's plea for help, Khalid ibn Waleed wrote back the following letter: "From Khalid to Iyad, I am coming to you now." Khalid ibn Waleed appointed Qa'qa' ibn Amr radiallahu anh as his deputy in Hira and proceeded to Dawmatul Jandal without loss of a moment. The burning news of Khalid's arrival was so terrifying that Ukaydir ibn Malik counseled Judi to make peace with the Muslims, but he and other Christian chiefs rejected the proposal outright. Ukaydir said, "Of all people, I know Khalid the best. No one is better than he is in the art of war. And whenever a group of people see the face of Khalid, regardless of whether they are few or many, they run away from him because they fear him. So make peace with him, since that is the only way you can save yourselves." Al-Judi and everyone else rejected his suggestion, after which he said, "Then I will not help you in your war with Khalid. Your war with him, then, is your business only." At last, Ukaydir broke his relations with them and left alone for some unknown place. A small column of the Muslims intercepted him on the way, and he died fighting. Khalid ibn Waleed launched his attack from another side and challenged the enemy commander for a duel. Judi stepped forward and was captured by Khalid ibn Waleed in no time. With the result, his men fled the battleground. Simultaneously, Iyad ibn Ghanam also prevailed over his Christian opponents and made them flee for their lives. When the Persians noticed that Khalid ibn Waleed was away from Hira, they made an all-out effort to take back the province and turn out the Muslim administrators from the territory. The Arabian tribes also lent their support to avenge the killing of their chief, Uqba ibn Abi Uqba. Two well-known Persian generals, Zarmahar and Rozbah, marched at the head of a huge army. Qaqa' ibn Amr radiallahu anh, the deputy of Khalid in Hira, also divided his force in two parts, under Abu Layla radiallahu anh and himself, and challenged the enemy at a place called Husayd. After a heavy fight, both the generals and more than half of the Persian army fell to the Muslim assault. The rest of their men fled to a place called Khanafis, where their commander Bahbudan was lying with a large army. When Abu Layla reached Khanafis in pursuit of the fugitives, Bahbudan fled to Mudayya, where Hudayl ibn Imran, along with other Arabian chiefs, were awaiting the opportunity to engage the Muslims in a battle. In the meantime, Khalid ibn Waleed finished his task in Dawmatul Jandal and hurried back to Hira. Just in time, Khalid ibn Waleed joined in with the army of Qaqa' in order to lead an attack on Bahbudan in Mudayya. Khalid ibn Waleed took over the command of the entire Muslim army and divided it in three parts to attack from three different sides. Qaqa', Abu Layla, and Khalid Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een himself attacked from three sides as already decided upon. And Khalid himself attacked from three sides as already decided upon. Hudayl fled for his life, but the other generals, along with a large number of men, were put to death. Among the persons killed were Abdul Uzza ibn Abdul Rahm and Labid ibn Jarir, who sided with the opponents of Islam under compulsion in spite of being Muslims themselves. When Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anh came to know of this, he paid blood money to their relatives and ordered to treat their children well. Umar radhiyallahu anh was already angry with Khalid on account of Malik ibn Nuwayra's assassination, and this incident added fuel to the flames. However, Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anh did not seek any explanation from Khalid ibn Waleed and exonerated him with the remark, "Anyone who accompanies the polytheists even if they are Muslims, will meet with the same calamity as the polytheists will. A place called Firad was the meeting ground of Persia, Syria, and Arabia, and was adjacent to Dawmatul Jandal. It was the place where several Arab tribes had already collected, and the Roman army was camping nearby to back them up. Now, the series of battles fought with the Persian forces in the lower areas of Iraq had reached the Roman camp. Khalid ibn Waleed arrived at Firad to give battle to the Romans, Persians, and the Arabians all together. The enemy army was across the river Euphrates, and they sent a message to the Muslim commander to either cross the river or let them cross it. Khalid radiallahu anh asked them to cross the river, and that is what they did. Before crossing over, the leaders of the opposing army questioned whether it was wise to fight Khalid. They said to one another, "He is a man who is fighting for his religion. Furthermore, he is both intelligent and knowledgeable. It seems certain, therefore, that he will come out victorious and that we will suffer defeat." Now, in the end, however, these words fell upon deaf ears. Too many people were bent upon seeking revenge, and so, after receiving encouragement from their leaders, Roman, Persian, and Arab soldiers crossed the Euphrates and fought in a battle that was both long and fiercely contested. The Muslim army was extremely exhausted on account of the continuous traveling and fighting, while the enemy army were fresh and about 8 or 10-fold more in number. However, the battle broke out and went on the whole day. At last, the Romans and the remaining of the armies fled the field, tasting their worst defeat and leaving behind 100,000 dead soldiers. The Battle of Firad took place in the middle of the month of Dhul Qa'dah of the 12th century Hijri. The Battle of Firad is considered the last battle in Iraq that Khalid ibn Waleed took part in. The Roman and Persian powers used to be shuddered from within at the mention of Khalid ibn Waleed's name. Human history cannot perhaps give any other example of so many successive victories in so short a period with so little resources as Khalid. But Khalid ibn Waleed did it. He deserves all of the blessings of Allah that we can seek for him, and for his matchless military acumen, dauntless courage, unflinching determination, and daring operations. However, we cannot ignore the spirit behind all his deeds of wonder, and the spirit is that of his selection, training, and guidance in Siddiqui style and manner under the Khalifa of the Prophet, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Muslim columns and troops, wherever they fought and whatever lines of operation they adopted, were as per the instructions given from Al-Madinah, the headquarters of Islam. In all situations and circumstances, the Khalifa of the Prophet kept himself acquainted with the details of the movements of the Muslim forces and never made any delay in sending the instructions best suited to the situation. Hence, even though Khalid ibn Waleed radiallahu anh deserves a large portion of the credit, we must give due credit to the Khalifa of the Prophet, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh himself, for leading and guiding the Muslim troops and Khalid ibn Waleed himself to success and victory.